Urim and Thummim. These two objects sound like the names of two Lord of the Ring characters. However, they play a part in the Israelite history until the captives returned from the Babylonian exile. The Urim and Thummim were a way of receiving revelation from God and apparently consisted of one or more objects of an unknown nature. This oracular means was entrusted to the high priest, who kept it in his breastpiece. The Urim, lights, and Thummim, perfections, were gemstones worn by Israel's high priest on the ephod, priestly garments. Nobody knows what the Urim and Thummim were made of or how they were utilized. Simply put, the Bible does not provide us with enough details. The Urim and Thummim are only mentioned a few times in the Bible. They were noted for the first time in the description of the breastplate of judgment. Exodus chapter 28, verse 29 through 31. So Aaron shall carry the names of the sons of Israel, Jacob, in the breastpiece of judgment over his heart when he enters the holy place, to bring them in continual remembrance before the Lord. In the breastpiece of judgment you shall put the Urim, lights, and the Thummim, perfections, to be used for determining God's will in a matter. They shall be over Aaron's heart whenever he goes before the Lord, and Aaron shall always carry the judgment, verdict, judicial decisions of the sons of Israel over his heart before the Lord. And you shall make the robe of the ephod all of blue. Leviticus chapter 8, verse 5 through 10. Moses said to the congregation, "This is what the Lord has commanded us to do." Then Moses brought Aaron and his sons and washed them with water. He put the undertunic on Aaron, tied the sash around him, clothed him in the robe, and put the ephod, an upper vestment, on him. He tied the skillfully woven band of the ephod around him, with which he secured it to Aaron. Moses then put the breastpiece on Aaron, and he put in the breastpiece, the Urim, and the Thummim, the sacred articles the high priest used when seeking God's will concerning the nation. He also put the turban on Aaron's head, and on it, in the front, Moses placed the golden plate, the holy crown, just as the Lord had commanded him. Then Moses took the anointing oil and anointed the tabernacle and all that was in it, and consecrated them. When Joshua took over as leader of Israel after Moses, he was to receive answers from God via the Urim through Eleazar, the high priest. Numbers chapter 27, verse 18 through 23. The Lord said to Moses, "Take Joshua, the son of Nun, a man in whom is the Spirit, and lay your hand on him, and have him stand before Eleazar, the priest, and before the whole congregation, and give him a commission in their sight. You shall put some of your authority and honor on him, so that all the congregation of the Israelites will obey him. He shall stand before Eleazar the priest, who shall inquire before the Lord for him by the judgment, decision of the Urim. At Joshua's command, the people shall go out, and at his command they shall come in, he and all the congregation of Israel with him." Moses did as the Lord commanded him. He took Joshua and had him stand before Eleazar, the priest, and the whole congregation, and Moses laid his hands on Joshua and commissioned him, just as the Lord had commanded through Moses. The Urim and Thummim are mentioned again in Moses' final blessing to Levi. Deuteronomy chapter 33, verse 8. Of Levi he said, "Your Thummim and your Urim belong to your godly man Aaron, whom you tested and proved at Massah, with whom you contended at the waters of Meribah." The Urim and Thummim are also mentioned in the following scriptures. Joshua chapter 7, verse 14 through 18. "In the morning you shall come forward by your tribes, and it shall be that the tribe which the Lord chooses by lot shall come forward by families, and the family which the Lord chooses shall come forward by separate households, and the household which the Lord chooses shall come forward man by man. It shall be that the one who is chosen with the things under the ban shall be killed, and his body burned with fire, he and all that belongs to him, because he has transgressed the covenant of the Lord, and because he has done a disgraceful and disobedient thing in Israel." So Joshua got up early in the morning and had Israel come forward by tribes, and the tribe of Judah was chosen by lot. He had the families of Judah come forward, and the family of the Zerahites was chosen, and he had the family of the Zerahites come forward man by man, And Zabdi was chosen. He brought his household forward man by man. And Achan, the son of Carmi, son of Zabdi, son of Zerah, of the tribe of Judah, was chosen. 1 Samuel chapter 14, verse 37 through 45. Saul asked counsel of God, "Shall I go down after the Philistines? Will you hand them over to Israel?" But he did not answer him that day. Then Saul said, "Come here, all you who are leaders of the people, and let us find out how this sin, causing God's silence, happened today. For as the Lord lives, who saves Israel, for even if the guilt is in my son Jonathan, he shall most certainly die." But not one of all the people answered him. Then he said to all the Israelites, "You shall be on one side. I and my son Jonathan will be on the other side." The people said to Saul, "Do what seems good to you." Therefore Saul said to the Lord, the God of Israel, "Give a perfect lot identifying the transgressor." Then Saul and Jonathan were selected by lot, but the other men went free. Saul said, "Cast lots between me and my son Jonathan," and Jonathan was selected. Saul said to Jonathan, "Tell me what you have done." So Jonathan told him, "I tasted a little honey with the end of the staff that was in my hand. Here I am. I must die." Saul answered, "May God do so to me, and more also if I do not keep my word, for you shall most certainly die, Jonathan." But the people said to Saul, "Must Jonathan, who has brought about this great victory in Israel, be put to death? Far from it. As the Lord lives, not one hair of his head shall fall to the ground, for he has worked with God this day." So the people rescued Jonathan, and he was not put to death. The Urim and Thummim were a way of receiving revelation from God, and apparently consisted of one or more objects of an unknown nature. This oracular means was entrusted to the high priest, who kept it in his breastpiece. The Urim, lights, and Thummim, perfections, were gemstones worn by Israel's high priest on the ephod, priestly garments. Nobody knows what the Urim and Thummim were made of or how they were utilized. Simply put, the Bible does not provide us with enough details. The Urim and Thummim are only mentioned a few times in the Bible,